Charlemagne the God is currently engaged in the biggest beef of his career. And shout out to him. How you rage bait your way to a response from the President of the United States. Charlemagne the God ultimately got Trump's attention when he went on Trump's daughter-in-law show and criticized him.
All right, well, Charlamagne, I'm so honored to have you here. Thanks for coming on My View.
Laura, thank you for having me. You did Breakfast Club. I had to return the favor.
Yeah, we're trying to reciprocate. I appreciate that very much. So look, we're 6 months into President Trump's second term in office. Now, I know you've been critical. You've had your bones to pick with President Trump. If you took his name out of it and looked solely at what has happened, the policies and the things that have changed around the world and in our country over the first 6 months, how do you rate his presidency so far?
I wouldn't give it a good rating,
Why not?
Simply because, the least of us are still being impacted the worst. Like when you look at something like, the big, beautiful bill, that's something that, I'm going to benefit from because of the tax bracket that I'm in. But, there's going to be so many people that's hurt by that bill. And, anything that, takes away Medicaid from people and is going to put people in a worse financial situation than, they were previously in, I'm not for. And, he ran on that. Like, he ran on, the economy. He ran on saying that, grocery prices were going to be down. And,
That has happened.
Policies and the economy is secondary, especially under this administration. It feels like our rights, like literally our rights, like we're fighting for our literal rights. Fam, this is a man in Trump who's withholding disaster funding for states and cities that refuse to pledge allegiance to a foreign government. Again, let's read. The condition applies to at least $1.9 billion that states rely on to cover search and rescue equipment, emergencies, manager salaries, and backup power system, among other expenses. So literally our tax dollars is being withheld from us if we don't pledge allegiance to a foreign government. American citizens are going to die. And Trump is fine with that. If those American citizens in those cities don't pledge allegiance to a foreign government. I believe things like this should probably come before we start discussing the economy. For the most part, I think Charlamagne the God conducted himself pretty great. I think his first point, disqualifying himself from even being able to determine whether or not the economy is doing great or not, I feel like was a great first step. It will look really like lacking self-awareness if you're saying my life is the indicator for whether or not the economy is growing. Because like the average person isn't Googling statistics, the deficit or inflation. They're using their lives as the indicator to determine whether or not the economy is doing well or whether or not we're on a downslope. When an average person go out and they see the gas prices and they look at groceries and they look at how much they're saving every month versus how much they're making, that's their indicator. So if you're doing as well as Charlamagne the God, or for in a very lesser degree, like me, when I go to Target, I don't really look at how much my grocery costs, or when I go fill my gas up, I don't look at that. So hence, I'm incapable. I disqualify myself from even being able to tell you whether or not the economy is doing good or not, because my life is not an indicator and I'm not researching, doing studies on the inflation and the deficit. But what I can say though, are the things that, that I know to be true. Like $1 trillion have been cut from Medicaid. 16 million people are about to lose their health care. That's not cool. But Trump is also doing good things. Like job growth is through the roof. I believe like 600,000 jobs have been added. The stock market is doing great. Illegal immigration, for the most part, has been stopped, has been nuked. So it's really a toss-up, to be honest. And I feel like where Charlamagne the God went wrong is Charlamagne the God refused to give Trump any credit. He said the things he hated about what Trump was doing, but he refused to list anything that he believed Trump was doing well, which I believe is dishonest if you can't even name not one thing that Trump did well.
No.
Inflation is trending down. And by the way, Medicaid, we want to make sure that people who are not actual recipients or shouldn't be getting Medicaid are off of Medicaid so it can actually benefit more people. There is good stuff in that bill, though. You have the 2017 tax cuts that are made permanent, and that really is for everybody. But that's for everyone. Everyone in this country is impacted by that. You also have things, by the way, like money going to school choice for parents all across this country. There is a lot of good that I think will come out of the big, beautiful bill. But what about things like...
Right now, people are hurting. And, he campaigned on immediate change, day one change.
And you don't think you felt any change? People aren't feeling change.
No.
Do you feel safer knowing that Iran will not have the ability to develop a nuclear weapon?
Iran?
Yeah.
Sure. I feel safe if you're telling me that a country won't have the ability to build a nuclear weapon.
Do you feel
yes.
better knowing our borders closed?
Yes.
Okay, so they're
don't get me wrong. There's certain things that I absolutely, understood. Like, as far as, border security. But I understood border security for different reasons. Like, people were complaining about the border because they felt like people were coming into, the country and, taking jobs away from people in certain areas and certain communities. And that is the conversation that I had been hearing, for the past year and a half prior to the election. I understand that, but I want to see the criminals and illegal immigrants, actually deported.
Well, that's happening.
Not people who are here, trying to go through the process of being in this country legally. Like when you see people actually getting deported and getting detained, and they're actually trying to go through the process of being American citizens, that's not right.
Well, we're allowing those people to leave. They actually get money to leave, and then they get to reapply to come back here the right way. So,
but leave and go where?
They go back to their home country, and then they
what if they've never even been to that country?
Well,
make no mistake about it. Laura Trump is a greater political mind than Charlamagne the God. But Charlamagne the God right now is cooking her on the common sense issues. Common sense, things that you really can defend, even if you love Trump. And if you try to defend it, then you got to look at yourself a little weird, bruh. Yo, people's rights are being violated. There are U.S. citizens who are leaving their house, being stopped and detained at bus stops because they look Hispanic or they look like they're Spanish speaking. That's not cool. I don't know how anybody can defend that. The Fourth Amendment protects us against unreasonable searches and seizures. So it's not okay that ICE raids, they're literally going out without a list. Again, ICE don't have a list of people they're going out to find. They're going to Home Depot. They're going to certain places they believe is a high concentration of Hispanic people, and they're conducting raids. Now, they will say, we're conducting raids under reasonable suspicion these people are illegal. But what's the reasonable suspicion? Their race? Because they're Spanish speaking? It's not okay. It's not cool at all. At all. No American citizen should ever be stopped and detained by ICE. Nobody should be going about their day and they have to stop and be detained as if this is like Germany or something, bruh. But these Trump fanatics and these Trump freaks will literally see this, rights being violated. Bro, this is America, homie. We should be able to move about as freely as we want. People being stopped, detained, searched, and frisked, and the reasonable suspicion is their race, that's not cool, and that's crazy. And anybody who support that, I think you are a lunatic. And we're not saying don't deport illegals. We're saying deport them the right way. Deport them the right way. Find a method somehow. Get names. Find a way. But the way is not to stop random people who could be U.S. citizens, detain them, search them, make them identify themselves for no apparent reason whatsoever. And your reasonable suspicion is, oh, they look Hispanic, oh, they're Spanish speaking. So Trump is absolutely correct, and which is why Laura Trump ain't really have no rebuttal, because certain things you can defend against. Trump is doing some great things, but these ICE raids is unconstitutional and is not okay. And if you're okay with that, then you're probably okay with a dictator too. So Trump will respond back to Charlamagne the God on Truth Social. And Trump wrote it's like a crazy paragraph, going crazy on Charlamagne. In response to Charlamagne, Trump writes, the very wonderful and talented Laura Trump, whose show is a big rating success, put racist sleazebag Charlamagne the God. How is he racist? Why is he allowed to use the word God when describing himself? Can anyone imagine the uproar there will be if I use that nickname? Trump literally called himself the chosen one. Like, cut it out, man. He's a low IQ individual, has no idea what words are coming out of his mouth, and knows nothing about me or what I have done. Like, just ending 5 wars, including a 31-year bloodbath between the Republic of Congo and Rwanda, where 7 million people have died and there was no end in sight. He don't know that. Or India and Pakistan, or wiping out Iran's nuclear capabilities, or closing the horrendous open border, or creating the greatest economy where prices and inflations have come way down. And where stupid and corrupt Joe Biden set the record for doing the worst job as a president ever. But this dope Charlamagne the God would vote for Sleepy Joe or Kamala. Remember, 1 year ago, our country was dead. Now it's the hottest country anywhere in the world. Now, Charlamagne the God did say in that interview that he would vote for Kamala Harris. I don't know if I'm willing to go that far right now. I don't think Trump went that crazy on Charlamagne the God based on what he said on the Laura Trump's interview. I don't feel like just based off of that solely is why Trump went crazy. I feel like Trump's seen the other things too. Trump seen Charlamagne the God doing the Daily Show that very same week where he took aim at Trump. You know, he said that Trump has dementia, that Trump is slowing down, which I believe is not true, right? The one thing we can give Trump credit for, Trump is very witty, very sharp for somebody his age. So Charlamagne the God taking the dementia angle, I think is kind of weak because I do feel like the political commentary has to hit, and it has to hit if it's true. Meaning, you could make some really powerful jokes at Trump, but the jokes have to be true to hit. And when Charlamagne the God made his jokes about Trump during the Daily Show, I don't know. I think it fell flat because most of the jokes were not true.
But is Trump really losing it as badly as Biden? Let's run through this official list, okay, of dementia symptoms from the Mayo Clinic, all right? Now, first, I want to say that doctors warn it's unethical to diagnose someone you haven't actually examined, but I'm not a doctor, okay? So let's go, all right? Symptom number 1, memory loss. As in, Donald, do you remember that you appointed Jerome Powell to be chairman of the Federal Reserve in 2018?
I was surprised he was appointed. I was surprised, frankly, that Biden put him in.
Memory loss, check, okay? He's stealing Biden's whole flow, word for word, bar for bar, okay? I bet Biden somewhere watching this thinking, where am I? Okay. Next symptom, problems with communication and finding the correct words.
As a linguist, translator, and cryptologic technician.
Check, okay? Either his brain is malfunctioning or he was getting head beneath the podium, all right? Somebody check and see if Mike Johnson's under there, okay? All right, what we got next? Confusion and disorientation.
Mr. President, do the tariff rates change at all on July 9th, or do they change on August 1st?
What are you talking about?
Check. Don't you get it? Trump's tariff policy is 5D chess, and all 5Ds stand for dementia, okay? Let's see how Donald does with coordination and movement control.
It's fun to see it.
I don't get why Trump chose YMCA as his signature song. That dance involves coordination and spelling at the same time.
I didn't laugh once, to be honest, but the demographic that belongs to the Daily Show is a little different from me. I'm not their targeted audience, so those jokes was told for their audience, not me. But I didn't laugh, but I see Charlamagne the God is trying to get his Trevor Noah on, and he's trying to expand outside of hip-hop media, and that's always a good thing. Now, Charlamagne the God will give Trump the donkey of the day, and he would extend this beef for at least another day.
No insults, I don't care. He called me a sleazebag. I looked up the definition of sleazebag. Says it's a disgusting or despicable person. Depending on who you ask, that may apply to me. Okay, I personally prefer friendly neighborhood a-hole. Okay, he said I'm a low IQ individual. I don't know. I've never taken an IQ test. He said I have no idea what words are coming out of my mouth. Absolutely true. Okay, I've been surprising myself my whole life, like, damn, I actually said that? Now, let's get to your claims. He said, I don't know anything about him ending 5 wars. Mr. President, nobody knew that because it's not true, all right? There is zero evidence, nothing credible whatsoever that says President Trump played any role in ending the ongoing, keyword, ongoing conflict in the Eastern DRC or in Rwanda, okay? America has not brokered any major peace deal between the DRC and Rwanda during Trump's second term. And wiping out Iran's nuclear capabilities, you did pull off a significant strike, but it didn't eliminate Iran's nuclear capabilities. Saying you wiped it out is an overstatement because according to reports, no enrichment facility was destroyed and Iran's nuclear threat is still very active, and some experts argue it's more dangerous now due to a lack of international oversight and the increased beef with Israel and the USA. Now, you also claim the borders were closed. Not closed, but you have tightened immigration policies and increased enforcement. You have definitely made the border harder to cross, but saying it's closed is false and ignores everyone coming over seeking legal asylum. By the way, I want border security. I just want you to keep your promise of deporting illegals and criminals. But since Homeland Security started to work to deport more people, okay, immigrants with legal status or no criminal history are being detained and deported too. That's not right. Okay, your family is always in fear.
Who family you talking about?
Okay, all right. Listen, my fellow Americans. Listen, listen, my fellow Americans. We are in a strange time right now, a time we have never seen because authoritarian strategy is being used against anyone who speaks out against this administration. We saw what happened Friday. President Trump orders, the firing of labor statistics.
America and our values have become unrecognizable. I mean, and that's just something you can't even dispute. Yo, a legal immigrant, by the way, he has a green card. He's a permanent resident. A green card means you have decided this is your home country. You're living here permanently and you're not leaving. Legal. He got locked up and was facing deportation because he decided to protest a foreign government. Again, he was not arrested by the local police department. They didn't charge him with any crimes. He didn't commit any crimes. Trump and his administration locked him up for protesting a foreign government, the same foreign government that U.S. citizens are apparently going to die and not get the aid they need if they don't worship or pledge allegiance to that foreign government. That's not cool and that's not right. And quite frankly, I can't support it. So hence I can't support Trump. But let me know in the comment section, what do you guys think about this, man? Do y'all feel like Charlamagne the God was on point, or do y'all feel like Trump was on point? Let me know, okay? And if you're still watching, click on this video here somewhere on my screen to find out how this leaked police document just proved that the police is watching No Jumper. Find out exactly what that document says in this video right here. I'm gonna see you guys in this video. I'm out of here, folks. Peace.